You're listening to the Educated Cowgirl Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. Hey Cowgirls, welcome back to Season 2 of the podcast. I can't believe it, but we are here. I am so grateful to be back with you for more thought-provoking and inspiring episodes about the equine industry and the exciting guests I bring on. On today's episode, I am talking with a lady who is so passionate about the industry, providing the best hands-on education to her college students, and so much more. As I was editing this episode, I kept thinking this is the best time of year to have this conversation, as it is the end of the year or semester for high school students, and they are thinking about or starting to think about what's next after graduation, whether it's to continue their education in college or pursue their career right away. As we will mention in the episode, it's all about what is right for you and your journey. I am talking with Savanna Mauch from Lamar Community College. She is one of the amazing equine instructors in their equine program who really believes in providing her students the best opportunities to learn and receive the hands-on education they need to become great leaders in the horse industry. We talk about a variety of different topics in this episode, from what is unique about Lamar's equine program, their AQHLearn course, and she has some beautiful things to say about what special characteristics women bring to education, the industry, and horses. This is an episode I think everyone is going to want to listen to, but especially parents and young students. Savanna brings up some excellent points that will prove very valuable to all. So, without further delay, let's get into my conversation with Savanna. Hey, and welcome to the Educated Cowgirl Podcast, hosted by yours truly. My name is Abby Carpenter, and I am a cowgirl and equestrian through and through. I started this podcast wanting to make more of an impact in the equine industry. That's why I am making it my mission to help promote the industry to the public through sharing my love for horses through education and bringing other experts and professionals onto the podcast with me to discuss important topics that impact the horse community. So whether you are a crazy horse lady like me, want to learn more about horses, or want to learn more about the industry, you've come to the right place. On this podcast, we will be talking about ownership, horsemanship, fitness, faith, breeds, and so much more. We believe that it doesn't matter what type of saddle you ride in or the breed of horse you may ride. We all contribute to this community to make it great, and that there is always something to learn from the back of your horse. So grab a coffee and get ready to take some notes, and let's get started. This is the Educated Cowgirl Podcast. All right, so welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm sitting down with someone who has so much passion and drive to make students' college experiences better, more fruitful, and providing them with more opportunities to achieve the education they desire for whichever career path they choose in the equine industry. Thank you so much for sitting down with me to have this conversation today. If you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do, and a fun fact about yourself.
Sure. Thank you for having me. So my name is Savanna Mauch. I teach at Lamar Community College in the Equine Business Management program, and I'm also the department chair. So that means that I oversee our equine business management, horse training and management, rodeo team, ranch horse team, and ag programs. And then a fun fact about myself is that I have a daughter who's just about a year old.
Fun. That's always a fun time. All right, so with every story, let's start at the beginning. What is your background or journey with horses and the industry, and how did that lead to your current role at Lamar Community College?
Yes, ma'am. So my background, when I was a kid, I was just like a lot of us were. I was just a horse crazy little girl. So I just wanted to do everything that I could with horses. So I was very privileged to have many mentors in my life who helped me find horses to lease at the beginning. I started showing when I was in elementary school, and then finally got my own horse when I was at, the end of elementary school age. And growing up, I did everything with horses, from Western pleasure and showmanship and horsemanship. we put the English saddle on at the county fair so that we could get more points, but by no means am I an expert at anything English. But then I did, barrels and just all the things. We rode at all the local saddle clubs, showed a lot with 4-H. Like I said, I just had a lot of mentors who really helped me enjoy the horse experience. We went to horse camps. We were ambassadors for 4-H. Just really dove into it. My summers especially just were all about horses. And then when I started looking at college, I knew I wanted to do something with horses, but I really wasn't sure what that was yet. So I decided to go to South Dakota State University, and I pursued my bachelor's of science in equine or in animal science, and then I had a minor's in equine studies. And there I really didn't know what my career path was going to be at first. I was thinking maybe equine nutrition. I remember my first year, that was my plan. I was going to be an equine nutritionist. And then after my first year, I thought, I don't really know if this is where I'm called to be, but I don't know for sure where that is yet. So I just kind of kept pursuing all the opportunities in the horse industry. And ultimately, at the end of my bachelor's program, I spoke with my advisors at the university, and they offered me the opportunity to continue my education in their master's program. So I ended up getting my master's degree in education, curriculum, and instruction from South Dakota State University. I was in a different situation than most graduate students because I was working in the animal science department. I did my research within the animal science department, and I taught in the animal science department. But like I said, my master's degree was in education. So I was kind of the different student in the program, but it was a really good mix for me because I still got to take animal science courses and further my education on that side, but I was really heavily involved with the teaching aspect within the animal science department. And that's what really led me to Lamar. When I was finishing my master's program, again, I wasn't totally sure what route I wanted to go. I was looking at extension, I was looking at teaching, and ultimately decided to move to Lamar. And I've been here for 6 years now and absolutely love it.
Great. I can relate to knowing you want to be with horses, but you don't know exactly where you fit into this world, into the career-wise anyway. So I can totally relate to that. So I'm actually really glad that you emailed me to talk about the equine program. I went the community college route for my educational journey. I went to LCCC in Cheyenne. But, and I see the value in going that way from the hands-on approach. You get a little bit more one-on-one time with instructors, just smaller sizes. And I don't think a lot of high school students really consider them much when they're looking at colleges, because they want the big schools, D1 schools, whichever it may be. What do you think is a common misconception about junior colleges, and what do you want people to know about what they can gain from your program?
Right. Well, I totally understand where high schoolers are coming from because when I was in high school too, I really didn't look at any 2-year programs. I think sometimes the high schools aren't doing the students justice by informing them of the opportunities they can get at a 2-year school. And I think the other thing too that I really want youth to understand is to have a career in the horse industry. And to be a leader in the horse industry, you don't necessarily need to get a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of opportunities that you can get with an associate's degree. I think in the horse industry, so much of it is about your hands-on ability and your skills that you can do, and then also your connections in the industry. And I think those are two things that Lamar does exceptionally well. Our students work with horses 7 days a week, and you don't get that experience at a university. And I think that is one thing that really sets us apart is, like I said, our students get hands-on experience with horses 7 days a week.
Great. Can you dive a little deeper into the specifics of the equine program and what makes it unique to other programs at other schools, and what helps you stand out from other Colorado schools in the area?
Yes, ma'am. So we have two different horse programs at Lamar Community College. The first one I'll start with is equine business management. So that program is really for students who are interested in jobs like working at vet clinics, rehab facilities, breeding facilities, giving riding lessons, boarding stables, all of those things. And when students come here for the equine business program, they bring a horse with them. They can bring a different horse with them for every semester, but they do bring a horse with them. And that's the horse that they'll get to work with, like I said, 7 days a week. And then something really unique about our equine business management program is how hands-on it is. So like for our reproduction class, they get to work with a broodmare. They're on foal watch. They get to watch her go through the foaling process and assist with that. And then another really unique thing about the program is all of our rehab equipment. So we have a Vitafloor and a solarium, and then we also partner with MagnaWave. So all of our students get to get certified in all of that equipment, and they get to use that equipment on all of the horses at LCC for free. So any horse at LCC, whether it's the rodeo team, ranch horse team, horse training, equine business, they all have access to all of that rehab equipment for free. So that's another really cool thing about Lamar. And the students, they get certified in how to use it, and then they have a schedule just like they would at a rehab facility. And they have a list of horses that they are expected to get through on their assigned day, and they record, how that session went and all of those types of things. So that's one really cool thing about the equine business program. And then the horse training and management program, that one is, as far as I know, one of the first colleges that really started a true horse training program. So we have a really rich history in our HTM program. It was started in the 70s, and it is very hands-on. So how that works is the first semester that students get here, they get one colt to green break. And all of those colts are provided to us by breeders from our region. And when the colts arrive, they're halter broke. Depending on the ranch that they come from, halter broke can have a pretty wide variety of definitions.
Yes, they can.
So they get here, the students do everything with them from, teaching them how to stand tied and brushing them, putting the first ride on, and then they put about 90 rides on those colts, and they show them at the end of the semester on a reining pattern, and then the colts come watch that show, and we hand out buckles and all of that, and then the owners take them home. Second semester starts in January, and those students get two colts, so it's the same idea, but two colts. So and then the instructors, we try to step back a little bit in that semester and let them put more of their skills into play without us assisting them as much. Third semester, then, when they're sophomores, they get a specialized horse, and that horse arrives at Lamar green broke. So they'll have anywhere from 60 to 120 rides when they get here. And then the student talks with the owner about what the goals are for that horse, and then helps progress that horse in the specialization that them and the owner agree on. So again, that horse training program is very hands-on. And that's one thing that's really important to Lamar, is that our students, again, can do the skills and do the jobs that are needed in the industry. We think that the classroom content is extremely important, but if the students aren't able to do the hands-on job that's required in the industry, we aren't doing justice to our students. Both of our programs end in a semester-long internship. So their spring semester, both students go on a full-time internship, and they can go to any place of their choice. But we do help them line that up. We have a lot of connections in the industry that reach out to us wanting interns. And we really try to push our students to go to the top of the line places, because on that internship, again, we want them to see the best way to do things and make as many connections as they can. So in equine business management, some familiar places that people might know, we've sent students to Vista Equine, Outlaw Equine, the 4-6s, the Lazy E, MVP in Amarillo. So, really reputable equine businesses. And then on the horse training side, our students are working with very reputable horse trainers as well. And it's always interesting to me when I travel to horse shows and I wear my Lamar Community College shirt, how many of the people stop me and say, hey, I went to Lamar in the 90s and I went there in the 2000s. And the horse training program, like I said, it just has a very, very rich history, and we're really proud of that.
Yeah, it sounds very like needed because and I wrote this down. I love that they get to work with more than one horse for a semester because it kind of treats them like they're the professional trainer that they have to work out their time management of, oh, I need to make sure I work enough with each horse per day. Going back to the business part, when you say they bring a horse with them, is it usually just like their show horse that they use for ranch horse team or something, or is it like can they bring like their own colt to work with in the business management? Like, what do you mean when you say they bring their own horse?
Yeah, so there's a huge variety of horses in that class, which is always really interesting as the instructor. So what I tell them is bring the horse that you're comfortable with. In my riding class in the equine business, the big thing that I try to push is their horsemanship skills. So, whether my student is a barrel racer who's very competitive on our rodeo team, or somebody on the ranch horse team, or maybe somebody who has only taken lessons growing up and hasn't competed. In any of those situations, there's always ways that we can help them develop better timing, better feel, better connection with their horse. So I tell them, bring the horse you're most comfortable with. So some of my students who are really strong riders bring a 2-year-old that maybe has 30 rides. And, they might get bucked off in class, and that's all right. We just get back on and keep going at it. And then some of my students bring, their 20-year-old trusty horse that they've had for 10 years, and they can do absolutely everything on. Either situation, I think, like I said, we can help them really advance their horsemanship skills.
Yeah, no, it sounds like both of these programs really give them the opportunity to get the experience that I'm sure like Vista Equine and Sixes and all those other places would really love about like, oh, these people are actually coming in with experience of being on full watch or taking care of broodmares, which that's so great.
Yeah, that's our biggest thing is, those internships, when the students go, we want them to be successful, both for themselves. We always say that our mission for our students in the horse programs at Lamar is for our students to become the leaders of the horse industry. And we really emphasize that to our students. To become a leader in the horse industry means a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. And it's a big responsibility for us as instructors to find the best opportunities for our students to get to that level. So for example, like I said, all the equipment here, right? We're always looking at what equipment can we bring in, what skills, how can we change our curriculum to better enhance our students. So I know when I sent some interns to the Sixes this year, they use a software management program called Wise Option, and that's what we use here at Lamar, and that's how they track the rehab sessions and any medicine that they give a horse. They put the farrier in there, all the things. And I know the girls, when they started there, they told me that they knew how to use Wise Option, and some other interns from other colleges didn't know how to use Wise Option yet.
Right.
So they felt like that was a big advantage of theirs, that they already kind of knew the expectations and the standard things in the industry, so they could just hit the ground running and keep going. There wasn't as much training required by that internship site. And I know that those sites really appreciate that because, they're busy. They want these interns to show up and be able to benefit their operation as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I know Jake probably really appreciates that, Vista Equine, because I know they use Wise. But yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So one thing that was just announced recently and something that is, as I mentioned before we started recording, it helped drive where I wanted to take this episode is your partnership with AQHLearn, and something that I think will really benefit a lot of students, whether they're already in college or in high school, is the AQHLearn course, Collegiate Opportunities in the Horse Industry. Can you talk a little bit more about this, how this all started, and what benefits will this course provide to the industry and students?
Yes, ma'am. So I think one thing that I am really big on is always continuing to seek out new opportunities for LCC to, really promote themselves and to enhance our youth's experience in the horse industry. So the AQHLearn, or AQHLearn, I found that by just searching, youth curriculum in the horse industry, and it pulled up, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And I saw Of the West promoting that they had done a course on there about finding jobs that match your desire in the industry. Mm-hmm. And so I looked through that course, and to me it really stood out that we were educating the students on potential careers in the horse industry, which is great. But I thought, these kids, if they're looking at these careers, they really need to know, what educational steps do I need to take to get into this career? Yeah. So I felt like that's really where Lamar could step in and help guide that process better for our youth. So I really, like I said, I looked at that Of the West course and looked at what the final step was, right? The career is their final step in this whole picture, but that first step of education, how can we help guide them better? So in that course, I just talked about the different options for education, whether that's your associate's degree, your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, and then maybe which careers are suited to those different steps. Obviously, Lamar, we offer associate's degrees, so I'm a big proponent of students starting out at this level. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I think the hands-on experience you can get in this associate's degree is so important for the horse industry. But I tell my students too, if you feel called to pursue higher education, I think that's great. And we want to help guide them in that too. So, the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, the PhD, all of those levels are needed in the industry. So that course, it really does show them the gamut of all the opportunities for education in the industry. And I put some things in there that I think are important for students to ask themselves when they're choosing a college. I think a lot of times students choose college based off of, they know their friend has gone here, or mom and dad said they heard this school. And I think all of those things are really important. But I also think that youth should really consider what that college can offer them. Is it giving you the things that are important to you? So if it's important to you to have a hands-on experience and to have a close connection with your instructors, again, I think that's where the 2-year schools can really stand out. So I think being critical of the schools that you're looking at and really finding the school that values where you end up and really cares about what you want to do in the horse industry is very important.
Oh, I love that. I love that because I definitely know that getting my associates first really opened a lot more doors for me, and I still talk to my instructor from LCCC a few times, and even though it's been over 10 years since I graduated from there, but it's definitely a really good path. And then I took a break after community college, and I did a few jobs before I finished my bachelor's, but I still had a lot of those credits that it didn't take me as long to get a bachelor's. Absolutely. So it was very good, but I love that. So with that, and the course is very affordable. It's only like $25, so really anyone can do it. So
yep.
Yeah. So with the course in mind, I think since 2020, a lot of college-age kids and high school kids are starting to make the decision of whether to pay for school or go directly into the workforce, whether with horses or other jobs. What would you say to them about the benefits of choosing to pursue education and how flexible community college can be for them to be able to afford it?
Yeah, that's a very valid question. And I hear a lot of people saying in the horse industry that maybe you don't need to pursue higher education. You can just go work for somebody that you want to be like and then learn their ways and you can get there. And while I understand that, and I think that could potentially work, I do think, especially at Lamar, one thing that we really pay attention to is helping our students navigate the process of becoming an 18-year-old high school grad and turning into a mature potential leader of the horse industry. And I think that there's a process there that isn't always even directly tied to horses, right? I mean, yes, we work with our students and their horses 7 days a week, but that mentorship that they get, even here, they're only here for 3 semesters and then they go on a full-time internship in the industry. I think that is extremely valuable to youth. That's one thing that me and my staff have been talking a lot about this fall, because you do hear on a lot of podcasts where people recommend the youth to just go into the industry. You graduate, go find somebody you like and work your tail off and you'll get there. And you probably could. However, as an 18-year-old, are you going to be responsible enough to know you have to show up not just on time, but early? And you have to have a good attitude even on the hard days. And you have to pay attention to the small details. And even though your boss told you that you didn't have to have stalls cleaned until 10 a.m., if you can get them cleaned by like 8 or 9 a.m., that means something.
Yeah.
So I think those skills are extremely important for youth to go and learn at an educational institution, because here you're not going to get fired, right?
No.
We might sit you down and say, hey, what we did today, that can't be our standard. Let's figure out how to do better. But you're not going to get fired here. If you just go straight into the industry after high school and you're not quite ready for that level of responsibility, it's very easy to make a bad reputation for yourself.
Yeah.
And when you're 18, you don't know that, and so I think us being able to guide our students on that process is one of the biggest values of education. And then, obviously beyond that, like relating to the horses, we have the time, and our total job is to teach these students. But when you go again into the industry and you go work for somebody, their job is to run their business.
Yes.
Their job is not to educate you. You're going to pick up a lot of things along the way, but your boss is probably not going to have time to stop and explain and educate you on things. That is our whole job here, is to educate you. So, I think that a student could go either way, but the value of education and instructors, again, I think it really matters on the school that you choose. But if you can find a school where you really fit and your instructors care about, again, helping you achieve your career goals and helping you become the best that you can be, I think that is worth the cost of education over and over again.
Yeah, no, that is so great, because there could be 18-year-olds that are like you and me, where we went to college and we're like, I don't know what I want to do. I know I want to be with horses, and like you said, colleges give you the opportunity to make mistakes, learn from it, and if you made a big mistake at a trainer at 18 years old, they're like, all right, bye. So it really gives you that time to kind of learn not only who you are, what you want to do, but make mistakes to learn from it, so you can go into an internship or a job and know, okay, this is how not to do it. No, that's so good. So something else that's a little bit off topic, but I think is still relevant, especially this year, is how women in sports this year has really taken a big hold from basketball, women's rugby, reining, so much more. And we're breaking glass ceilings as women all over sports. But when it comes to education and careers, how do you think women are doing similar things?
Well, I think that the limit doesn't exist for what women can achieve. And I think that there's both sides of it. Like, we need the men in the industry to do the things that they're able to do. But I think that women have skills that men don't have, and vice versa. But it's not uncommon for horse owners here at Lamar. This just makes my heart feel good. We have some horse owners that will bring their colts, from their ranch. They bring them in. And when they unload them, we get them put up in their stall, and they'll pull me aside and they'll say, Savanna, if it's possible, I'd sure like a girl to work with my colts this semester. And, we can't always cater to that. We try to match them with the student that we think is going to be the best for him. But I tell my students, both the guys and the girls, that the owners say that, because I know the owners are saying that, and they've told me they're saying that because they know that those girls will love their horse,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're going to push them, and they're going to have high expectations for their performance, and they are going to get them trained to the best of their ability. But they're also going to take them to the tie racks and braid their mane, and they're going to give them a bath once a week, and they're going to, they're going to do those things. They're going to really care about the horse. And
Yeah.
I think that's one big benefit of women in the horse industry, is that we're very strong and we can get the job done, but they have that soft and caring touch to still care about the horses and the individuals that they're working with.
Yeah, that's so great. And I mean, and I've mentioned this on another episode, but like there are men and women, like, but we can't have one over the other. We have to come together and work together. And I think that's so great that you do try and cater to what the owners want, but you're also like, well, I also have a few guys in here that need to work with the horse too. So
yeah, and the guys, I mean, don't get me wrong, the guys in our class are extremely important, because there comes a time where the girls have hit the dirt as many times as they want, and they're just not having it anymore, right? And that's where the guys are generally pretty happy to step in and help with those situations.
Yes.
And so both of them are extremely valuable to the industry.
Yes, I know. I've been grateful a couple times. I did a first saddling on a mare that she did not want to have the saddle put on her at all. I tried to run us over it, and I was really happy that I had a man in there with me helping to hold her while I was doing it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So with everything that we talked about today, what would be your final nugget of wisdom for any students who are possibly thinking about the college track?
I think, again, when you're considering college, whether that's which college to go to, or to go to college or not go to college, I think the big thing is really consider where you want to end up in the horse industry. Who do you want to be in 10 years? And then figure out the path that's going to help you get there the best. Some schools will cater better to what you want. So I think really take that process serious and look into the school and the instructors at the school and find the school that's the best fit for you. And remember that hands-on portion of education is extremely important for the horse industry.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would agree with that. I love that. So one last question before we get into our rapid fire questions. In your own definition, what does it mean to be an educated cowgirl?
Okay, so I was ready for this question. I knew that you asked this one, and I'm the type that I want to do my research, and I want to have the best thoughts about things, and I want to be educated on it, right?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about this, and I wrote something down here that I'm going to read. So to me, being an educated cowgirl means upholding the Western values that the world needs right now. It means seeking out educational opportunities to strengthen your God-given gifts. And lastly, I want to emphasize the word cowgirl, because like I said earlier, there's something so special about the cowgirl's ability to both be strong enough to get the job done, but also have a soft and caring touch.
That is so beautiful. I love that. Perfect answer. All right, so for our fun rapid fire questions, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be?
Oh my goodness. I'm really bad at these types of questions. I just think the mentors in my life are pretty important. So I think my grandma's been one of my biggest mentors in the horse part and pursuing this, so I'd say her.
Oh, I love that. All right, so if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One thing, I'd say like a cheeseburger, a really good cheeseburger that you just can't go wrong with it.
I had someone else say steak, right away. So I get that. So what is a life hack or tip that you swear by that you have to share?
If my students were to listen to this, they would laugh at this. But I would say listening to podcasts. I'm huge on podcasts. I'm in my classroom right now, and I have a list on the board of all the podcasts that I listen to, and I almost every day say, "Hey guys, this is the podcast I listened to this morning," and this is what they said. And I think right now there's just so much education that's available for free.
Yes.
That's just amazing to me. So listen to the podcast, keep learning your whole life.
Yes. I definitely have my list too.
Yeah.
All right. So because it's December, what is your absolute favorite Christmas tradition?
Well, one thing that's been different, I moved to Lamar, Colorado, which is very different than Minnesota, where I grew up. And, I kind of miss the snow on Christmas. We generally don't have snow here, and if we do, it's not a lot. So that's one thing that I really liked about Christmas at home is the snow and just that picturesque Christmas. One day is good. I'm not a big fan of winter, but if we could get that picture and that snow on Christmas Day, I really like that.
Yeah, the Eastern Plains get more of the wind than anything.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Savanna, this has been so much fun and so fascinating. Thank you again for coming on the podcast and reaching out to me. For those that are interested, where can they find you on social media or find out more about the Lamar CC equine program?
Yes, ma'am. So Facebook is probably the easiest way to get hold of me, just Savanna Mauch on Facebook. But otherwise, my office number, can I give them that?
Yeah.
Okay, my office number is 719-336-1624. Otherwise, you can email me, look us up on our website, and we'd love to talk to you. The school has social media pages as well, so if you search us, you'll find us on there.
All right. Thank you so much, Savanna.
All right. Thank you.
Wasn't that so fascinating and I think very helpful? You can really hear Savanna's love and care for her students in her voice, and wanting to give them the best education and experience necessary before they enter their careers in the equine industry. If you are interested in learning more about the equine program and getting in touch with her, I have put the information she shared in the show notes. Also, if you could please do me a big favor, and if you loved this episode, please screenshot it and share it on your Instagram stories, and make sure to tag me at The Educated Cowgirl. And to show more love for the podcast, if you could please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps me to know what you're loving about the show, what you want to see more of, and help me to continue to grow the show. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Educated Cowgirl podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something new, and will come back for more. But for now, stay blessed and ride on, cowgirls.